Good evening. Let's try it again. Good evening. Y'all almost got it. Good evening. Now y'all sound like y'all ready to have a good time. Good evening and welcome to the 36th Annual Telecommunications Banquet here at the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn in Suffolk, Virginia. I welcome each and every one of you to this wonderful occasion, and I would ask, would you please stand at this time for the presentation of colors by the Suffolk Police Department and Fire Department.
Oh, say, can you see by the dazzling light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes in bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang aloud, the bombs bursting, and gave maroon through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
You may be seated. I would also just like to quickly mention that beautiful rendition of the national anthem was provided to us by former Isle of Wight dispatcher Destiny Whitley. Please give her another hand. As I said earlier, you are all welcome to the city of Suffolk. We are so excited to host this event. This is a wonderful opportunity for us as a city to give a great big thank you to each and every one of you that do an incredibly amazing job. So thank you very much for being in our city on this evening. And at this time, I would like to introduce the MC. I would like to welcome to the front our MC for the evening, Mr. Ricky Matthews from Wavy TV 10 Weather.
That is a lot more applause than I thought I was going to get when I looked outside and looked at the radar earlier. As I usually say, if you liked the weather, it was my fault, and if you didn't, well, Don Slater's email's on our website, and you can send him an email instead. I really appreciate you guys allowing me to come out tonight. We appreciate all of you at Wavy TV 10, because oftentimes we're calling a lot of you, and maybe you don't want us to sometimes, but we keep calling. But we really do appreciate every single thing you do. All the long hours you work, all the nights, all the days, all the different shifts. It really makes this area function as it does, and we couldn't do it without every single one of you. So please, big round of applause for everyone here tonight. All right, well, I'm going to continue on because usually I'm the thing in between you and getting a bite to eat tonight. So, at this time, we're going to pause for a second to take a moment of silence to recognize Suffolk Police Dispatcher Tammy Arthur, who fought a long battle with cancer. We're also going to remember all of our police officers, firefighters, and fellow dispatchers who we've lost this year. Thank you so much. At this time, we're going to ask you to rise one more time for our prayer, led by Sergeant Crawley from the Suffolk Police Department.
Good evening. If you're ready to eat, say yeah. Yeah. Y'all ain't hungry, y'all ain't hungry. Amen. Let us pray. God, we thank you for this occasion. God, we thank you for your loving kindness. We thank you for your tender mercies. God, we thank you for everyone that put this event together. God, we ask that you will bless them triplefold. God, bless their finances, bless their health, and bless their mentality, God. As we take part in this food, God, we want to be reminded of your grace. We want to be reminded of your love. We want to be reminded of your many blessings. God, allow this food to be nourishment to our bodies. Bless the hands that labor for it, and bless the hand that prepared it. Sanctify. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. So much, appreciate it. All right, we couldn't do this without the sponsors and everyone around. Be seated, by the way. We could not do this without all the sponsors. I want to make sure all of them get a big thank you for helping out tonight with the 36th Annual Dispatchers Banquet this evening. As well as our entertainment and guests, we'd like to welcome them and welcome A-Class Act Entertainment, as they're going to be providing the music throughout the evening. Also welcoming to the event tonight is our keynote speaker, retired Colorado Springs Police Department Detective, Lieutenant Joe Kenda. All right, we hope that you have a great evening tonight, and now we would like to welcome you all to dinner. Our banquet committee is going to dismiss each table to the buffet. Hang on a little bit, we'll get all you a bite to eat. Thank you for coming out tonight.
We are going to get started with our keynote speaker for tonight. Joe Kenda is the retired lieutenant from the Colorado Springs Police Department, and for over 19 years he conducted criminal investigations. You probably know him better from some of his TV shows, or maybe you've read his books over the years. He's got 2 books. I hear he's working on maybe some more too, and he stays busy all the time. So I'll let Joe come on stage. Please welcome him to our event tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad you invited me to come. I always do this for law enforcement and law enforcement-related organizations, and it's always fun for me. No government has an extra dime to spend on anything. And so when I come to these things, there's no charge involved, nothing. Because I understand no one can pay for it anyway. It's a reality, you know. Yes, I do write books. I've got 2 out. I have a 3rd one coming out in July. It's my first fiction book. It's actually based on one of my cases, but I changed all the names and all the facts and everything so I wouldn't get sued by the family. But it's about a guy who hires an assassin to murder his wife. It's not a blockhead assassin, it's a professional. And I think it's real interesting. And the title is All Is Not Forgiven. I'm writing a 4th book right now as well. And I'm filming season 3 of American Detective. Now it's been renamed to Homicide Hunter: American Detective. And I'm supposed to film a pilot for a new series on ID, but it's still in a development stage. I'm not sure what the details are yet, but that's going to happen as well. So we're kind of back in business after COVID stopped everything for a couple of years. And it did. There was no movies getting made, no TV shows. Everybody's afraid to assemble a crew. Lawyers, they'll sue us, if we get this thing involved. So it's kind of crazy, but we're back to work, and I'll be filming this week. So I was pleased to come here tonight. It's a great crowd. You hear a lot these days about first responders. And everyone in this room is the ultimate first responder. Not only are you the ultimate first responder, you're the most powerful person in this state of Virginia. You can summon everything but federal troops. You can't mobilize the 82nd Airborne, not unless the president suspends the Posse Comitatus Act, but that's been done before, so that's still possible. But you say you need a SWAT team? Well, stand by a moment. Let me get you one of those. You need 17 fire trucks? They'll be right there. Anything that's required to address a problem that suddenly becomes available or presents itself starts with all of you. It starts with all of you. Nothing would happen without you. The police and the fire department would have to wander around aimlessly wondering what's going on because they're waiting for you to tell them. The thing I most admired about dispatchers in Colorado Springs, Colorado, it's a large agency. We have a lot of activity. It's bigger than Virginia Beach, 530,000 city and another 300,000 metro, so it's a lot of people. Is their ability to maintain a calm voice. As a receiver of communications in a police car, it's very important for me to believe that you're telling me everything you know. And if you become emotional, I have to assume you know more than you're telling me. And it makes everybody distressed. It's not a good thing. But all of you are trained not to do that. I remember an example. I was a supervisor in patrol. My call sign at the time was 4 Paul 1. Sector cars, they call three. They call a supervisor and 2 sector cars. Dispatcher's voice says 4 Paul 1, Farm 61, Farm 62. Go ahead, we all answer up in sequence. Report of a man with a gun making threats, 2855 in Shannon Circle West, handle code 3. Roger, 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 everybody goes. Within 3 minutes, 4 Paul 1, go ahead. We now report a shots fired, 2855 in Shannon Circle West. Same tone of voice. Okay, this call is getting worse and we're not even there yet. Next call, 2 minutes later, 4 Paul 1, go ahead. Medical is now en route. Now somebody's been shot. This is not good. But it would have been infinitely worse had your voice changed, or the tenor of your voice. It doesn't. It's just information. Here's what we know. Be prepared for this to happen. On one occasion, I was a sergeant in homicide. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Phone rings. Dispatcher. Homicide, this address. Okay, I'll get a call team assembled and we'll be en route. It's Colorado. It is a full moon. Colorado is in the Rocky Mountains. The air is clear as a bell. You can see 100 miles. It's remarkable. Nothing like here. I went outside. It was so bright from that full moon. I could see the key lock in the cruiser door that I kept at home. I put the key in the thing, opened it up. I had the car wired to where the commercial radio And the police radios and all the cell phones and everything are all together. So you shut the car off, everything dies. Start the car, everything lights up. I like classic rock and roll. So I always had tuned this FM station that played classic rock and roll. So I start the car, and you know there's a brief second or so before they play a commercial song on an FM station? They play Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bad Moon on the Rise. And I'm looking around, and I'm looking at my car, and looking how bright it is outside, and I said, well, John Fogerty, I didn't know you were a prophet. Because that's why I'm awake. Somebody has lost their lives. The dispatcher calls and says, 1 X-ray 7, that was my call sign then as a sergeant in homicide. Don't bother me right now. I'm listening to my song. I don't have time to talk to you. I mean, come on. You know, so I'm listening to my song. Then you get the wife voice. 1 X-ray 7. Ooh, ooh. Yes, ma'am. 1 X-ray 7, go ahead. Are you en route? That's affirmative. I'm en route. Call team is also en route. Roger, 0131. Still the wife voice, but a little less edgy now that I've acknowledged. But it's always amused me that you better answer right now, not 2 seconds from now. Now, I called, you want to talk to you. So it's kind of funny. And that happened a lot. But it was always those moments when you realize that without you and all of your toys and your phones and your radios, none of us would be able to do anything. We need you. We must have you. You are our link to survival in some cases. You're taking incoming bullets somewhere. You better hope that there's somebody on the other end of that radio. And it's going to be you. And I'm going to ask you for help, and you're going to provide it. That is a remarkable thing. So you should all be very proud of yourself. You are the ultimate first responders. And you're able to provide the help that law enforcement and fire departments need to survive and to do their job. It can be an ugly business. We all know that. It's the nature of it. It's emergency services, and emergency is a key word. Somebody is suffering, somebody's maybe going to die, maybe somebody's already died. We've got to deal with this. And you are the people that permit us to do all of that. Nothing would happen without you. And everything happens because of you. And that's something to keep in mind. You should be very proud of yourself. You work hard, you work in the middle of the night, the middle of the day. You wind up talking to some shrieking human on the other end of a phone trying to tell you what's going on. You're trying to disseminate information. You're trying to get information from this person. It's not an easy thing. They don't pay any of us enough money. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. They don't do this for the money. You do it because you know it needs to be done. If money was a concern to me, I would have never been a policeman. I didn't care about money. I cared about the work. I got to a point in my career when I thought that if you killed one of my taxpayers, I took it personally. And I would make you suffer for it. And I was able to do that 92% of the time. You can make numbers say anything you like. I mean, I had a solution rate of 92%, so the national record still stands. But you could also say, well, I'm just an idiot who doesn't know who killed 8% of the people. That all depends on how you look at it. But you must put that effort into it, like all of you do every day, to do the right thing at the right moment, to permit that work to continue, to permit officers to survive, to permit them to do their work, to provide them with the tools they require immediately, not in 5 minutes, but right now. Everything about this business is right now. It's not in a minute, it's not later, it's now. And everybody in here knows that. And that's the thing that nobody outside this room really understands. And that's why I enjoy these moments when I get to come and tell you that, to say thank you to all of you. I've never worked with you. I've never heard your voice on the radio. But I know what it means. I've been there a long time. And I've been on the end of some bad situations. And it was a dispatcher in a communications center that was able to provide what I required to go home and see my wife. Speaking of my wife, she's with me tonight. She's sitting over there in the green outfit with a buzz around the neck. Her name is Mary Kathleen Kenda. We met in high school, a Catholic high school. We're both Catholics. So every girl in the school's name was Mary. So when the nun would say Mary, 14 girls would turn around. So Kathy got tired of that, so she became Kathy and no more Mary. But she's an Irish woman with blue eyes and a temper like a chainsaw. I don't understand her, but I'm working on that. And we've been married for 55 years. And one day, she's an RN. She worked at the city hospital. I've been gone for 2 days on a terrible case. 5 dead, 1 wounded. You know, it's ugly. And she didn't know where I was or what I was doing, and I was just gone. Before the days of cell phones, before the days of anything. And she comes to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. And there's a guy who's a respiratory therapist or something in the hospital who walks up and confronts her an inch from her nose and said, "Your husband killed my brother last night." And she looked at him and she said, "Robert, I don't know where my husband even is. But I know you and I worked together for 10 years. We've never had a problem. Are we going to have a problem now?" And he stood there and he thought about it for a minute and he said, "No." And he walked away. When she finally saw me, she said, "What the hell have you been doing?" I said, "Well, Kathy, look at it this way. Married to me is an adventure." I said, "You'll have a bottle of whiskey in one hand and a gun in the other, but you'll have something to remember to tell your kids about it." So she has survived. She hasn't killed me. She's thought about it several times. She's also the reason why I'm on television. I get this question a lot, is how did you ever get involved in this? Well, I'm living proof that even a blind pig finds an acorn once in a while. But Mrs. Kenda is the reason. I got a letter from a guy. Actually, I got 3 letters. The first 2 I ignored. The third letter, he opened with saying, "I know you're throwing these away." I thought, well, the guy's got a sense of humor, you know. And he reports in this letter that he was a news guy in Colorado Springs back in the day, and he had interviewed me at several homicide scenes. He left news, became an editor, and then a this and a that, and now he's an executive producer for a production company. He had this idea for a cop show, and he thought it'd be perfect for it. So I put the letter down, and Kathy said, "What's that?" And I said, "It's a letter from some guy that says he's going to put me on TV, like that's going to happen." She said, "You should call him." "I'm not calling him. I don't like TV people." "Well, you should." "Nope, I'm not calling him." Kathy has a PhD in nagging from a good school. And for 4 days, she tortured me. "Going to call him in the morning or tomorrow afternoon? What's your plan? What are you going to say when you talk to him?" And I go, "Oh my God." So to keep peace in the family, I called him. And as they say, one thing led to another. And here we are. An amazing story, but true. So if you want to blame me for the TV show, blame her. It's all her fault. I said it from the start. It's all her fault. So I thought you might be interested in that. I don't want to bore you and keep you here for too long. It's time to drink and have a good time and maybe dance and that sort of thing. So I'm all done with what I have to say, but I wanted you to know how I felt about people in the communications business. as they are the key to how this whole thing works. Enjoy your evening.
All right, at this time of the evening, we want to go ahead and thank a couple more sponsors here with us tonight. The Jones Printing Company, they were instrumental in printing those beautiful programs that you see and saw when you came in. They went above and beyond to help with our event. Also want to thank Motorola Radio Systems for their support, as well as all of your work in the Hampton Roads area. We would also like to recognize our sponsor, PowerPhone, for all the amazing trainings and products they provide to our centers, and without the help of our sponsors and vendors, none of this tonight would be possible. So thank you so much to every single one of them. Now, we do have a couple jurisdictions with us tonight that are not going to be presenting awards, but they're here with us to honor and celebrate all their hard work this year. So we want to make sure they get a moment to acknowledge themselves, and if each jurisdiction would stand while we do this, we'd like to offer our applause. First up is the Isle of Wight County. The Eastern Shore. Followed by Regent University. The folks you always see flying around, Nightingale. And last but not least, Surrey County. All right, next up we're going to do a little tradition here. Haven't done it in a couple years thanks to COVID and not having this event, but it's been a tradition at this event for many, many years, and we're going to try and find whoever may have been serving the longest. So if all the 911 dispatchers and supervisors in the room would stand up for a moment. All the dispatchers and supervisors. All right, so now that we've got everyone standing up, the blood flowing again, if you have 1 year or less of experience, go ahead and take a seat. All right, let's up that. How about 5 years or less? Take a seat. 10 years or less. 15 years or less. 20 years or less. 25 years or less. All right, we'll see with this one. 30 years or less. All right. 31. 32. Do we have a tie for 32? Oh, we still got one. 33. Okay, 33. 34. 35. 36. 37. 38. Let's see how high I can count tonight. 38. 38 years. Wow. Please give them another round of applause. Suffolk Dispatch proud to present a $100 gift card to Royal Farms as a thank you for your service and commitment to your dispatching career. And once again, just a big thank you to every single one of you tonight for your years of dedication that you've given to your centers, officers, fire personnel, and citizens. So happy to have you here tonight to celebrate all of you and give away over $3,000 in door prizes. So let's get to that. First up, we're going to welcome the Newport News Emergency Communications Center and 911 Manager, Laura McCartney.
Good evening. I would like to thank the Suffolk Communications Center for hosting the Telecommunicators Banquet. It's been a long time coming. I'm so happy we were able to gather to celebrate us, the true first responders, and our wonderful profession. We hold in the palm of our hands the life of the citizens we serve, police officers, deputies, firefighters, EMS, and other public safety professionals. We are their lifeline. Before I announce our 2022 Telecommunicator of the Year, I would like to take a moment to recognize our previous year's recipients of this most prestigious award. Ladies, as I announce your name, would you please stand? Our 2019 Telecommunicator of the Year, Communications Officer Tiffany Whalen. Our 2020 Telecommunicator of the Year, CTO Sarah Byers. Our 2021 Telecommunicator of the Year Assistant Supervisor Ashley Bradshaw, who could not be here with us tonight. And our first ever recipient CTO Lakeisha Holiday for our Culture of Service Award. The most outstanding leaders are willing to train and develop people to surpass them in knowledge and ability, eventually influencing and facilitating their journey of accomplishment. The Newport News Communications Center's Telecommunicator of the Year defines leadership. Training Coordinator Valerie Atkinson is an exemplary role model. She consistently upholds the Newport News Communication Division's values and encourages others to do the same. Valerie began her career in the Newport News Dispatch Center in 2000 as a dispatch trainee and has evolved to the level of training coordinator because of her profound passion, enthusiasm, and dedication to others. She is entering her 23rd year as a loyal and honorable team member, and we applaud her for her commitment. In the absence of a division's training coordinator, Valerie selflessly stepped forward to assume the role and meet the needs of the division. She demonstrated superb leadership, skills, composure, as quickly adapted to her new role. Valerie understood the division's core issues, enabling her to solve problems remarkably. She worked tirelessly and effortlessly to ensure the basic Telecommunicator Academy adhered to DCA standards, required standards, and every team member maintained their certification. Valerie created detailed plans to ensure her work effectively and efficiently. When faced with obstacles, challenges, and unexpected circumstances, Valerie never wavered and instead exhibited the ability to identify and implement solutions while striving to create a culture of learning and development. Valerie exemplifies the model of work ethic, skills, and knowledge we should all strive for. She has built great relationships reflected by how highly her teammates speak of her. Her mere presence motivates our team to give the very best. She enables integrity, fairness, and ensures everyone feels valued. Valerie leads by example and never asks others to do what she would not do. Valerie puts others before herself without thinking twice. It's just who she is. In our profession, where the stress is overwhelming and PTS is now on the forefront among the 911 dispatchers, Valerie somehow balances the department's needs with the care and the well-being of her team members. Valerie is a driving force behind our division's growth in the training office and operations of the Communications Center as a whole. Her dedication to her profession and passion of her work is the standard for others to emulate. Because of her demonstrated leadership, teamwork, and dedication to the Newport News 911 Division, Valerie Atkinson is our 2022 Telecommunicator of the Year.
Thank you. We appreciate and we love you.
All right, next up, we'd like to welcome our host city for this evening, the Suffolk Emergency Communications Department and Captain Jesse Epperson. Okay, Chief Chandler stepping in instead.
Hello again. I am here to announce the Communications Operator of the Year for the City of Suffolk. Communications Lead Operator Tracy Pierce has worked very hard for Suffolk Communications Center in 2022, putting her career and the health and welfare of our citizens and her teammates above everything else. She has stepped up whenever needed as a great team player to assist supervision and assist with staffing. CLO Pierce remains consistently professional under all conditions in the center. She has shown great leadership skills this year and filled in as an acting supervisor frequently. Ms. Pierce stayed with the Communications Center during critical staffing shortages and made sure to encourage others to stay as well. She has over 15 years of experience with the Suffolk Communications Center, and she has shown exceptional knowledge of each radio channel and has established herself as a wealth of institutional knowledge. CLO Pierce participated in the promotional process this year and was deservingly promoted to lead operator. It is my distinct pleasure to present to you our 2022 Dispatcher of the Year, Tracy Pierce.
Lieutenant Springle, where you at? Come on up here. We need you to come up here. Suffolk Emergency Communications would also like to celebrate another award given to our center. This year, our supervisor, Lieutenant Sandy Springle, was awarded the honor of being named Suffolk Police Department Supervisor of the Year. We wanted to share what was read to her by our command staff as she accepted her award earlier this week. In July of 2022, Lieutenant Springle was assigned to the Communications Center to assume the role of PSAP manager. The Emergency Communications Center was down to single-digit certified dispatchers to cover the center around the clock, and morale was non-existent. On day one, Lieutenant stepped in, put a headset on, excuse me, and helped the center. As the new leader of communications, she had never dispatched before, but that did not hinder her from coming in and helping. And it did not matter what shift it was. She worked days, nights, several split shifts to cover gaps. She also brought in officers who had volunteered to help our staffing to give us some relief. For the first time in months, we were getting days off and not mandated to work an extra 12 to 18-hour shift. Her first priority seemed to be getting control of the center and getting us all time off. There were so many positive changes within the first month of her leadership. She listened to our concerns, suggestions, and needs to make things better, and she followed through with what she said was going to happen. The staffing levels are now growing, and the center operates harmoniously. Lieutenant Springle is what a leader should be: honest, trustworthy, and reliable. She leads by example, stands up for her people, and pushes us all to be better emergency communication professionals. It's always been known that Lieutenant Springle bleeds blue, but her heart is pure gold. LT, I'm so glad that you brought the big van tonight to help us move decorations, because we knew that you really wanted to win a TV. Although this TV here is already yours as a gift from all of us in dispatch. We just wanted to take the time to recognize you and thank you for everything you do for us and always put us before yourself. Thank you for being a true leader. We love you. Thank you.
Let's welcome up now the Norfolk Emergency Communications Center and Emergency Communications Manager, Dylan McDermott.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Di McDermott. I'm the Manager of Emergency Communications for the City of Norfolk. I would first like to congratulate all the telecommunicators who've already been recognized and all those yet to come. And to Suffolk Telecommunicators and Lieutenant Springle, thank you for hosting this beautiful banquet. After a 3-year absence, it is wonderful to be back together again to formally start the beginning of National Telecommunicators Week. When we think of telecommunicators, the words such as dedicated, professional, and experience immediately come to mind. But if the COVID years have taught us anything, it is that they are so much more than that. They are determined, they are resilient, and they persevere. They are our frontline heroes. They face challenges daily, if not hourly. They adapt, they overcome hurdles. And yet they have a high regard for everyone else's safety while making personal sacrifices to ensure that emergency calls are answered and to be that calm voice in the dark for field personnel when they call. This profession is not for the faint of heart, and at times can be emotionally and mentally draining. But I know firsthand that this is the most rewarding career path possible. I would like to take a few moments to recognize our telecommunicators for the past 2 years. Telecommunicator 2, Sean Sarmiento, 2020. Telecommunicator 3, Joe Ware, 2021. Supervisor of the Year, Stephen Summerlin, 2021. He's here with us this evening. But this year, I have the distinct honor of formally recognizing our Telecommunicator and Supervisor of the Year here tonight. They were celebrated last week amongst peers and staff, but they're here with us. So our Telecommunicator of the Year, Miss Esther Finch. Esther has been with the department for 22 years and continuously demonstrates professionalism and patience with each call she receives. She provides leadership and mentorship to coworkers along with compassion during difficult situations. Esther demonstrates daily excellence in being a team member and a critical contributor to our daily mission. She arrives mentally prepared daily, positive and receptive to her assignments. She does not promote negativity or pessimism, which is greatly appreciated since there's always plenty of stress to be dealt with daily. As a senior telecommunicator, she regularly assists team members and monitors new members when asked to do so. She routinely demonstrates the character and knowledge that we expect from all our members and acts as a positive example for our new members. Ms. Finch, she sets the example for coworkers by maintaining an above-average quality assurance score for the past several years. She has a stellar attendance record and frequently forfeits her break to ensure that staffing levels are maintained during the shift. She serves her role as a public safety telecommunicator with diligence and passion, and this award speaks highly of how well she is received by her supervisors and peers. So, Ms. Esther Finch, if you could please stand for a moment. Our Supervisor of the Year is Ms. Tanya Kane. Tanya has been with us for 18 years. Ms. Kane stepped in without hesitation as custodian of records during an employee's lengthy absence. She came in off-duty to learn the process and software to ensure that the agencies requesting the information would have all their documents and tapes in a timely manner. Ms. Kane sets a positive role model for those who work under her. She's always ready, willing, and able to assist employees as well as demonstrate how to correctly accomplish the task at hand. When we had periods of trainee saturation, Tanya stepped in and trained telecommunicators who needed assistance learning the police precincts. With her vast knowledge and experience, Ms. Kane, that she possesses, she co-chairs the Police and Fire Department Liaison Committee. Through her work with these committees, she can identify potential issues before they arise and reduce conflicts between telecommunicators and field personnel. She has been successful in creating policies when gaps in service have been identified. Ms. Kane is an extraordinary employee who is known for her dedication and her service to the center. She has an exceptional performance in all-around required job duties, including maintaining an above-average quality assurance score. She is passionate, committed to achieving excellence personally and professionally. Her loyalty and professionalism are directly related to the center's success. Ms. Tanya, please stand up and be recognized. I am proud to have both of these ladies as a valued member of Team Norfolk and honored and humbled to work for the public safety telecommunicators for the city. Thank you.
All right, we'd like to welcome up the City of Portsmouth next and the Portsmouth Emergency Communications Center Training Coordinator Paula DeBerry to the stage.
Good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure and a distinct honor to recognize one of our fellow employees. On October the 29th, 2022, a citizen arrived home from work to find his dog covered in blood. At 09:55 hours, the citizen Tony Tran contacted the Portsmouth Emergency Communications Center, frantic regarding his dog Luna that had gotten out of the crate while he was at work. In the process of getting out of the crate, Luna tore open 2 places on her back. When he arrived home, she was on the sofa covered in blood. Although he is used to seeing blood and guts, this was very alarming. Upon arriving in from work and seeing Luna covered in blood, he was totally astonished and unsure of what to do next. He immediately contacted the dispatch center. He was advised by the dispatcher to take Luna to the Cove Emergency Vet Center. He proceeded to the Cove and he was in amazement that they were aware of the incident and prepared for his arrival. Contact was made with him and he stated that the dispatcher must have wings on their back as they really went above their duty to assist by contacting the Cove emergency vet. He was still upset over the incident, and he stated that he and Luna were still trying to move past that horrific incident. It's for this reason that D1 Charlesburg exceeded normal expectations by contacting the Cove emergency vet. He wanted to advise them to inspect the dog that had been injured, and the citizen was informed to bring his animal in for care. Typically, once a caller is advised of the next step, the dispatcher will move on to the next call or radio transmission. D1 Burke is being recognized for taking the extra step above the normal call of duty. This service qualifies for expectations of the mission and vision of both the city and the fire department of building community relations, ensuring care and compassion for a citizen while in their lowest state requiring assistance when he contacted the Emergency Communications Center. Thank you, Charlie, for taking the time to provide the extra service above normal duty and contacting Nicole to advise them of a possible patient that would require their services. You have no idea how much of an impact that one call left a positive impression on the citizen, as well as the patrons of the coffee house, the local business in the city of Portsmouth. Thank you, Charlie. D1 Charlesburg. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to welcome up my hometown, the city of Hampton, and their Emergency Communications Department, and Director Kim Hendricks.
Yep. Okay, we have 3 awards that we're going to be giving away tonight. First, I want to thank the 2 gentlemen assisting me. I have Captain Frank Edmonds from the Hampton Police Division and Battalion Chief Joe Brown from the Hampton Division of Fire and Rescue. We're going to start with our Rookie of the Year, Miss Jada Thorne. She was hired by the City of Hampton on January 18th of 2022 and currently works the night shift. Ms. Thorne excelled in all 3 phases of her training. She has an optimistic personality and has built positive working relationships with her peers and supervision. Ms. Thorne is truly a team player. She often works overtime to assist with staffing shortages. She serves as a member of our employee council, where ideas are shared to work on improving morale within the center. Even though Ms. Thorne is newly certified herself, she does not hesitate to jump in and assist with training other employees in the center. Ms. Thorne takes advantage of training opportunities to prepare for her own growth within our center. She attended Virginia Commonwealth University and majored in special education. She resides in Newport News with her 2-year-old daughter. Congratulations, Ms. Thorne. Yep. Next is our Dispatcher of the Year, Ms. Deidre Macklin. She was hired by the City of Hampton on May 6th of 2020. Ms. Macklin is currently assigned to the night shift. She's a dedicated employee and always comes to work with a positive attitude. Ms. Macklin is a true leader and recognizes the importance of teamwork. She has an even temperament and can easily lead, adapt, and remain calm during hectic situations. Ms. Macklin makes herself available to fellow coworkers who often seek guidance when they are unsure of things. Ms. Macklin takes an active role in our employee council and ensures that the voices of her coworkers are heard. She seeks ways to improve morale within the center. Monthly, Ms. Macklin sends out emails to highlight an employee that has been interviewed so the rest of the center can get to know them on a personal level. Ms. Macklin was recently selected to participate with the city's new hire advocate program. She will be a point of contact for newly hired employees to mentor them through the early stages of their career. Ms. Macklin serves as a peer team member of our division's critical incident stress management team, and she has been instrumental in training our newly hired employees. Ms. Macklin has an outstanding work ethic and readily takes on challenges or tasks that are presented to her. She understands that this not only provides her for the opportunity for growth, Ms. Macklin is often found working extra shifts to ensure her coworkers' vacation requests are granted. In 2022, Ms. Macklin was recognized as our Rookie of the Year. She attended Norfolk State University and holds a bachelor's degree in fine arts. Ms. Macklin resides in Newport News with her 2 children. She is truly an asset to our center. Congratulations. And we have one more, our Supervisor of the Year, Ms. Christina Wright. She's been with the City of Hampton since 2001. She was advanced to a senior dispatcher in 2004 and promoted to a supervisor in 2014. During her tenure, Ms. Wright has received numerous accolades. She was recently selected to be a peer member for the division's critical incident stress management team. She works countless hours to ensure that vacation requests and mandatory overtime shifts are covered in the center. To build a positive work environment, Ms. Wright always ensures that the center is decorated for every holiday. She's created a birthday wall and displays information about each employee that we are celebrating during that month. Ms. Wright does not hesitate to assist with training employees in any phase of their training. If another employee in the center is ever in need of something while they're at work, Ms. Wright is guaranteed to have it in one of her many bags that she brings into work on a daily basis. If for some strange reason she doesn't have that item, she's quick to track it down or ensure that she has it for next time. Ms. Wright does reside in the City of Hampton. She obtained her master's degree in early education from ODU. She's an active member of her church where she also assists with the nursery and taking photographs during church events. Congratulations, Ms. Wright. And that's all we have. Thank you.
All right, we'd like to welcome up next the Navy Region Mid-Atlantic Regional Dispatch Center and the RDC Operations Specialist, Christina Miller.
Hello and good evening. We're going to present 2 awards this evening. One's going to be for Dispatcher of the Year 2022, and the other is going to be for Lead Dispatcher of the Year 2022. I am honored to present these awards for professional achievement and the superior performance of their duties while serving as a Region Dispatch Center, Region Emergency Response Dispatcher, and Lead Region Emergency Response Dispatcher at the Commander, Navy Region Mid-Atlantic Dispatch Center. Kristen Charette and Lead Dispatcher, what? No? Okay, great. Dispatcher Kristen Charette and Lead Dispatcher Bridget Weir consistently perform their demanding duties in an exemplary and highly professional manner. Their adaptability and unwavering dedication to the Sonoma RDC is recognized daily through their performance. The RDC is an organization dedicated to providing rapid and effective emergency and non-emergency communications supporting the public safety and force protection personnel and Navy 911 for shore activities throughout Navy Region Mid-Atlantic, encompassing 20 states and 19 installations. This is accomplished through the commitment, perseverance, and collaborative posture of our efficient and diverse civilian workforce who consistently demonstrate dedicated and innovative performance directly supporting fleet, fighter, and family. Ms. Charette and Ms. Weir's outstanding performance and loyal devotion and duty reflected great credit upon themselves in the Department of the Navy. Congratulations, Dispatcher of the Year, Kristen Charette. And Lead Dispatcher of the Year, Bridget Weir. Thank you. Okay.
All right, next up, we would like to welcome the Norfolk State University Police Department and Chief Brian Covington. I feel like we have some NSU graduates in the room tonight, too.
Good evening. My name is Brian Covington, and I serve as the Chief of Police at the Norfolk State University Police Department. Having worked very close with the City of Hampton police dispatchers, and now currently at the university, I continue to have a deep and profound respect for all the hard work that you all do. So thank you for everything that you do. Yes. Desiree Harris has been a dispatcher with the Norfolk State University Police Department since September of 2016. Upon her arrival, she was very soft-spoken, but yet excited about being a police dispatcher. Over the past 6 years, she began to become very reliable and worked countless hours of overtime to fulfill the obligations of the shift as we experienced manning shortages, as I'm sure everyone in this room has. Ms. Harris has handled a multitude of calls for service, to include several bomb threats that were made to the university in the year of 2022. During those calls, Dispatcher Harris remained very calm and very professional. Her skills and quick thinking allowed her to obtain and disseminate all the pertinent information to the appropriate personnel and all the assisting agencies that responded. Dispatcher Harris's ability to answer and dispatch emergency and non-emergency calls, operate the two-way radio, and assist the NSU community exemplifies the characteristics and skills of a very, very skilled dispatcher. Dispatcher Harris has assisted with the administrative roles such as training and hiring of our new dispatchers. Her dedication to help ensure that the new hires have received all the necessary skills to be successful, they go very, very unnoticed. Her ability to serve in a leadership role in the absence of the communications supervisor is beyond measure. She handles emergency problems, scheduling, and other miscellaneous functions as required to maintain the communications within the daily operations. Desiree Harris has exemplified being a team player, a very, very big morale booster, and a dedicated dispatcher. Her willingness to help others and promote teamwork are second to none. She is very empathetic with our citizens and our students and uses all the means necessary to ensure the quality of service is nothing than that of very less than professional. It is with great pleasure and great gratitude that I recognize Norfolk State University's Police Dispatcher of the Year for the academic year of 2022, Ms. Desiree Harris.
Our next city to be recognized tonight is the Chesapeake Police Department. I'd like to welcome up Chief Mark Selesky.
Good evening. It's my honor to introduce to you tonight Public Safety Telecommunicator 1, Candace Muller. Candace is an exemplary employee. She always projects a blend of professionalism, empathy, compassion, dedication, and knowledge that we look to emulate throughout the city of Chesapeake. With staffing being a stressor in the dispatch field, employees are often tasked with working the same radio or switching to less desirable positions at any given time. While this responsibility is necessary to ensure operational effectiveness, it can also be exhausting. Candace is always willing to work positions back-to-back for extended hours in order to help with squad morale. During her time on these positions, she remains highly efficient, especially on our records channel, handling the many challenges that VSIN aspect of this position present. Candace's strong grasp of the terminal and its many facets have earned her the trusted role of being a secondary VSIN reviewer when needed. When Candace isn't working her assigned radio positions, she builds camaraderie on the squad by coordinating squad parties, along with being the lead chef for delicious meals, coming up with games during downtime, and crafting the squad board. Candace always goes above and beyond her scheduled shift, coming in early or working over when the need arises. She also routinely volunteers to assist with the center's Careers Day. For her work ethic, commitment to excellence, and positive impact on the 911 Center, Candace was nominated by her peers to be the Chesapeake Police Department's Public Safety Telecommunicator of the Year for 2022. Congratulations, Candace. Congratulations so much. Thank you.
All right, next up we have the Virginia Beach Emergency Communications Director, Jada Lee, Virginia Beach.
Thank you. Yes. Good evening, everybody. I am so glad to be back here after 3 years of not being able to share this special time with our regional partners. This is absolutely amazing. So Suffolk, thank you so much for putting this on for everybody this year. And next year, Virginia Beach is gonna host. So come on to the beach next year. All right, so this year, we have our call taker of the year, our training officer of the year, dispatcher of the year, supervisor of the year, our team, and our telecommunicator of the year. So for this year, our call taker of the year is Tiana Reynolds. But what makes Tiana so special is Tiana just joined Virginia Beach ECCS on September 8th of 2022.
Even though she's newly fully released as a call taker, her reputation is well known throughout the center. Her nomination listed that it has been a long time since I've heard someone work through a call with as much intention, empathy, and drive to develop in a skill as she does for the city of Virginia Beach. Her call taking was described as consistent. She asks questions when needed and is not afraid to get up and go and talk to a coworker when needed. Her nomination closed out by saying, "I like to think that she will set a new standard by example for her fellow recruits." Tiana, congratulations. Our trainer of the year for 2022 is Jesse Burden. Jesse joined ECCS in January of 2017. His nomination mentioned where he is consistent in his ability to manage the new and hectic training schedule. Just so everybody knows, we only have 8 vacancies now. This time last year we had 43. We currently have 49 people in training, so when we say that the training schedule is hectic, it's true. With the massive influx of new trainees and them working modified shifts, pass down between trainers has become critical to ensure that training, paperwork, and progress is tracked accurately. This has been difficult for many of our CTOs because many of them are still fairly new in their role as a CTO. Jesse's high productivity is exemplified by his consistent communication with fellow trainers, checking in with trainee progress, updating training hours, and conducting thorough pass down as the trainee that works a power shift. This allows for transparency and consistency in training, so trainers and trainees have a smooth transition shift to shift with little to no loss of hours or momentum. Jesse also demonstrates teamwork with his fellow trainers by reaching out to share information in the hope that we can all be on the same page when working with our new recruits. Jesse, thank you very much. Congratulations. And our 2022 Dispatcher of the Year is Janelle Johnson. Janelle joined ECCS April 9th of 2020. In her nomination, it was mentioned her consistent and intentional determination to have a positive attitude and outlook at work. We work in a profession that can be dark at times, and the added burdens of mandatory overtime and short staffing can make things bleak and cause people to feel disheartened. Janelle not only exhibits joy and positivity on her shift, but she shares the same with her humorous positivity board at the back entrance by the elevator. And every week she puts a brand new, like 3 or 4 quotes there, and every Monday I belly laugh when I walk into the building. This board can be seen by all 911 employees and anyone else who comes in to the building. There are funny memes, lighthearted questions, illustrations, and encouraging a brighter outlook for all of us. And sometimes that can be difficult. This is a form of mental health care for yourself and coworkers, she tells us. This helps us all to laugh, smile, and remember that not all things are dark or sad, and to look out for all of us in this way demonstrates that Janelle embodies the spirit of the public safety service. Janelle, congratulations. For Supervisor of the Year for 2022, I'm pleased to announce Amanda Jackson, aka AJ. AJ received 3 separate nominations this year, and AJ does a lot for ECCS, and she always has a smile on her face. She does her best to keep morale high and incorporate our family life with our work life, and we all know that that can be difficult at times with the demands of this position. AJ was also instrumental in creating coupons that were passed out to employees for them to be able to turn them into the supervisors for different things. AJ is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to policy and procedure. You know when you go to AJ and you ask her a question, you can be confident in her answer. If she's not sure, she doesn't hesitate to reach out to get the right answer. She's hardworking, dependable, and a go-getter. She treats everyone with dignity, respect, and is considerate, and she's always attentive and on top of situations that are occurring on the floor. AJ makes sure to recognize employees through a coupon on the floor and on the spot, or a simple message thanking them for all that they do. AJ goes the extra mile to be available to her employees for things both personal and professional. Whether that may be just listening to their radio when they have a need, or taking the time to explain the why of something to them. AJ is described as the person I call out to when I need help or need a quick response, need someone to vent to, or need someone to be taken care of quickly. AJ is mentioned as a great role model and a positive model. AJ checks on her employees daily. She always has a smile for everyone, regardless of the type of day she's personally having. She's also the training liaison for the night shift, so she helps to ensure that our training continues on the night shift and keeps the department leadership advised of what's going on. AJ, congratulations, and thank you for all you do. And quickly, we have our Team of the Year for 2022. During 2022, as I stated, we were super short-staffed. They were working mandatory overtime, 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts, just to make sure that our citizenship and our public safety partners got the assistance that they needed. So a recognition team was created. They have done things from movies in our back parking lot, Easter egg hunts, and other fun activities that everybody can do there as a family. So AJ is also a member of the recognition team, so we'd like to have her accept the award for the recognition team. And Corey Overstreet, he's my executive assistant, and he's absolutely amazing. He keeps me on track. And lastly, our Telecommunicator of the Year for 2022, we never announced this until the banquet, but Jesse Burden is our Telecommunicator of the Year for 2022. Jesse, congratulations. So don't forget, next year, Virginia Beach, Oceanfront, banquet. It's gonna be a blast. We'll have all the details to follow. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
All right, we're going to head back to Peninsula now and welcome the York, Poquoson, Williamsburg Emergency Communications Department and Leanne Patterson.
Good evening. Thank you, Suffolk, for hosting tonight's banquet. It's been nice to come back and have fellowship with familiar faces and a lot of new faces. And thanks again for having us here. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. This year, we're presenting 2 awards, Dispatcher of the Year and also Trainer of the Year. Our Trainer of the Year is Patricia Trish Wise. Unfortunately, she could not be here tonight. She started with us in 2017. She has started out as a dispatcher 1, is now a senior dispatcher. She's also known as the helicopter mom. Helicopter mom, what does that mean? Yes, she does hover over trainees, past and present. She does make sure they know what they're doing, they have the tools that they need to do the job. She is also an acting supervisor when the shift leader is not there. She oversees the training on her shift. She's proactive with our training program, and she completes all of her assigned duties as assigned. Unfortunately, again, she could not be here tonight. But Trish, well-deserved for Trainer of the Year. And we are proud to announce this year's Dispatcher of the Year, Elena Siopa. Come on up. Elena came to us in 2021, and since she started with us, she has been a go-getter. She is the first person I'd ever seen come in, and we decided we were going to open a COVID hotline, and she took to it like no tomorrow. She was sitting there at one console, it went down, she was able to go to another console, and she remembered all the information from the call she took just minutes before, which was awesome. She is well liked and respected by her supervisors and her coworkers. She assists the shift leader with their duties. She is always checking to make sure everybody's logged onto the right radio, making sure the radios are up, not that we ever want to miss radio traffic. She is the first person we've ever had come to us within a year of being a trainee wanting to be a CTO. And we're like, wow. And so we went ahead and let her do it, and she's been training since. She's actually got one trainee about ready to be released. And again, she is relied on and trusted by her coworkers and her supervisors. Again, it's a great pleasure to give her the Dispatcher of the Year award. Thank you. And on behalf of our staff at the York, Pocosin, Williamsburg, and our director, Terry Hall, hope you all have a wonderful telecommunications week and have a good time tonight.
All right, we have one more department that would like to present some awards tonight. That is the Norfolk Airport Police Department and Chief Dave Huffman.
Okay, so I'm the last speaker and there's no door prizes, so I appreciate you sticking around till I'm done. I want to talk just real quick about the airport a little bit, just so you know what our dispatchers are doing there. We're about 1,200 acres, which is about 2 miles. We're a little city. We have our own police department, fire department, janitorial, building maintenance, field maintenance, operations, and we just moved from a large, small hub to a small, medium hub airport. And last year we set a record of over 4 million passengers. So every day in the airport we have 11 to 12,000 people, some days up to 16,000 go in and out of our facility. And our dispatch staff is 7. They work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and they average about between 72,000 and 76,000 calls throughout the year for our little 2-mile area, which encompasses both Norfolk and Virginia Beach. Our Dispatcher of the Year, Dispatcher Sharon Copperthite, if she wants to come on up and we'll talk about her. You may have recognized Sharon. She was one of the last ones standing with a 38-year service to both the city of Norfolk and to the Norfolk Airport Authority. When I came on the police department in Norfolk in 1989, Sharon had already been there about 4 or 5 years. And as our guest speaker said earlier, she's got one of those voices. So it didn't matter what kind of call you were on, if you heard her voice on the radio, you knew things were going to be okay. She never wavers on the radio. It can be the worst disaster going on in the world. She's going to be smooth, she's going to be calm, she's going to be professional, and she's going to help those officers, those firemen, whoever, on the scene get through that call. What's going on in her head back in dispatch? Only you guys know, because that's the job you have to do. But she never lets that get out to the people that she's working with. Whenever I heard her voice on the radio, and the calls that I was on as a police officer in both the city and now as the chief of police at the airport, she always makes me feel better when I get a text in the middle of the night and I call and she answers the phone. I'm like, okay, it's going to be okay. You know, so even as people in positions of leadership, you want to have that smooth, reaffirming voice, and all of you have that capability to do that, to make your bosses, your supervisors feel much better knowing that you're there and you control those scenes. And a lot of times, you do control those scenes. You're picking who's going and how they're getting there. So Sharon can come on up here. Sharon was nominated for this award by her peers, including one sitting over there, Kimberly, who can wave to everybody, and police supervisors as well. We have a large camera system at the airport. So in addition to the dispatch, the call taking on Friday nights and Saturday nights, they're everything. They're the call taker, they're the dispatcher, they're the camera operator. Sharon has been able to find lost property. She's been able to find people stealing property. She's been able to find people we want to look for in the airport in a rapid manner. All of those things help the safety of our patrons and the traveling public. Most recently, she took a call of a person in mental distress. Didn't know it. We did not know anything about the call. She handled it. She helped everybody out. We learned about it a couple of weeks later when that person that was in distress called airport administration to thank the dispatcher that intervened that night and helped her get through a serious crisis. So I think every day that Sharon is working at the airport. And again, we recognized Sharon as our Dispatcher of the Year about last month in our annual awards ceremonies, but we wanted to do it again tonight in front of her peers, because what better way than to do it in front of all of you. So thank you very much.
All right, at this time, we'd like to welcome back up the Suffolk Police Department's chief to give us some closing remarks for tonight.
Did everybody have a good time so far? Now, I hope you all stick around, because I heard it's a couple of people that's looking to drop it like it's hot. But I wanted to say thank you all very much. We are so incredibly pleased with the attendance, with the energy in the room, and with the excitement. I want to say personally that with my years of service and my time doing this, what you all do as 911 dispatchers is so amazing and so incredibly important to the safety and security of not only our officers, but our citizens. So I thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. Thank you so much for visiting our city, and we look forward to seeing you next year in Virginia Beach.